Okay, this is a 2008 Yukon Hybrid GMC, and I'm going to be removing the headliner. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to be done, but I'm assuming these things need to be popped off. Pop the light off. There's some holes here where you need to get the screws out of here, and this actually slides off. I'll show you that in a second off, and then we will catch up with you later. Now with this removed, you can see that there are some cables here. They just pop off. Nothing too difficult. I'm sure in every vehicle there's some kind of light connection, so be careful when taking this down. As soon as I took those two screws, it just automatically came down. See, it was being held by here. Next, you're going to want to take the visors off, or like at least what connects the visors. In the back, you will have a little slip cover where you can just prop that off. Also, it'll indicate where exactly you need to prop them off. And this one has 3 screws. Okay, once the visor is off, keep in mind that there is a light source connected, so there is going to be a wire. You're going to want to remove that as well. Easy clip, simple clip, and just tuck it back in there. To take this off, let me put some more lighting. I did have to use quite an amount of force to get it out for some reason. It's got these little things. I have no idea what they're called, but they were pretty wedged in there. I mean, besides the 4 screws that was keeping the middle console in, or the middle thing of that. Anyways, don't be afraid to use force here. As long as you took all the screws out, go ahead and try to yank it down, because I was afraid that there was more screws being held in there, but there wasn't. So don't be afraid to use force. Make sure you pull straight down, because you don't want to break those little plastic things. Otherwise, you're basically screwed. Alright, once you have all your bolts and everything that's holding, just a lot of these panels are hooked up by like those little notches, and just take everything, start popping everything off. You don't have to take the whole thing off. You can just let it hang, or cut it, like move it to the side like that. As long as you get one side tilted like that, you can just kind of push that over. Also, I'm gonna run over here and show you. You must take the seal off. I mean, just not off completely, but just put it down. That way you have access to it. You see how this one's like that, and then just just pull it off, and then now you have access to the end of your headliner. This is the end. Alright, there were some connections here. Take this off, and you're going to want to take that cover off and disconnect 3 cables. Run it up. Also, this was one of the biggest pains in the rear. There are also some connections there that you need to take off. I already told you about these over here, and then this one over here. In order to take the headliner off, you need to remove this panel and that panel, and it was still difficult to take it off because of the size. I don't know how to take these off, and that way you can save some room. You're gonna have to take that off, the seat belts off, and push it down. Now that the headliner's off, you're gonna need some supplies. You're gonna need your fiber optic. This one right here is focus. This one is 1.00 in size. I know it doesn't say it there, but that's what it is. And then, oh yeah, it does say it right here. Focus. Oh God. There it is. You're going to need something to cut it with. This may be a little heavy for me, so you can use nail clippers also, which I'm probably gonna switch because that's just too heavy. You're gonna need glue. Do not use hot glue, as it could possibly, I'm not saying it will, but could possibly melt or damage the fiber of the line, and it'll cause the light not to, go through. So I usually just use, whatever Elmer's glue or whatever glue you have. Fabric glue will work as well. Don't use super glue. Super glue will penetrate through here, as other videos have stated before. You're gonna need your light engine. This one is just for the lights, just for it to change different colors: red, yellow, green, blue. It flashes, but it's all simultaneously. It all does it all at the same time, not one or two of them flashing. This one is the one that twinkles. It'll go this way, that way. It's got different patterns. Some of them will twinkle while some of them fade. This one is going to be your shooting star Meteor light kit. Some of them come together. So I bought these separately. All together it can run you $200-300, even a lot more depending on who you buy it from and what you buy it from. This one's a 16 watt. This one I think is a 10 watt. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But once you have the panel out, it's a little wet because I had some spots on it that were dirty. So I cleaned it out. Make sure that you clean your headliner. You don't want anything dirty on it, especially if you're going to put something on here that people are going to be looking at. This is the stock headliner, and I don't plan on changing the color or anything on it. This is just a stock one, and these are all the cables that were connected to it. Let me turn it around. That's for the AC. So obviously, if you want some things to go through that area, you're going to have to pop that off and then re-glue it. I don't know. I'll figure something out. Make sure that you don't put any fibers on the edges, because those are going to be covered by the, they're just going to be covered because that's what's holding it. Alright, now I'm going to start making the holes. You're gonna want to drill like this, or you can purchase, a bigger drill. Just remember, the heavier the drill, the more your hand is going to get tired. What we're gonna do, since I do want stars to go in this midsection, I'm gonna rip this off, and that way I can go ahead and drill through here. Later on, just apply some glue, put it back on, and that'll be it. Now you see I've taken this cover off. I figured out that the motors fit underneath it without any problems, and all I have to do is just make an escape route for the fibers, which is going to be pretty easy to glue back in together without any air leaks or anything like that, which the car had major air leakage, so this is actually a good thing in the long run, because there were some spaces here that were not attached anyways. So I've got my engines where I want them to be. Last time I kind of did it a little bit different and it was a mess, so this time I'm going to do it each strand one by one instead of just all of them and then at the very end grouping them. That was a mess. So now I'm going to drill the holes and then measure each strand from that hole to here, and then cut it and then tape it until I'm able to
fill this hole around, put black tape, this whole thing comes off. I just have it screwed on, and I will show you what that looks like. Alright, the next thing you want to do is be creative. Don't make it all symmetrical or whatever. You can do, I'm doing the shooting stars first. You can do shooting stars. I made that one straight. I made this one curve. This one's going to be a little swirl or a squiggle. This one over here I made a little swirl. So just be creative. I don't know exactly how many I'm going to need. I just made a couple of them. Made some here, but I'm going to do this kit first. And then I'll do the other ones, since the other one's just random, you know, random holes or whatever. Once you have all your print down, like where you want it, you're going to want to drill the holes. So I've already drilled these holes. The best thing to do is to make sure your hand is underneath it, making sure you touch the area, so that way you don't go all the way through it and then you damage your headliner cloth, and then you're gonna have to reupholster the whole thing, or it'll look really crappy. So make sure you have your hand underneath it. Go really easy, nice and slow. You know, do the holes and then go on, find your next design, do these holes. Once you have all those done, you're going to want to thread them. So I'll show you that next. Okay, now it's time to run. You can pick whatever design to do first. It doesn't really matter. But see how mine is cut slanted? This is going to be the best way to go through any kind of cloth headliner. Hopefully that will show well. You're gonna want to pick one of the holes, and there you go. You don't have to put too much room in here, just as long as you're able to make sure it's fine. Okay, now you want to put some glue, no matter how much, and then a little bit, put it down, like up and down, you know, just kind of wiggle it like that, and then that's it. Leave it like that. I'm doing it this way. You can choose to do it many other ways. Whatever is going to keep all this from not getting tangled, that's your main goal right now. So I'm just going to measure the distance, hook it up to the first light, second hole, second light, third, and so on. So each hole that I put, I have to make sure I keep them in order, so that way they do the meteor effect. Otherwise, it's just not gonna work. Alright, so I have most of my holes filled, just the first one. And you have to put them in this little attachment, and what you want to do is, you know, try to fill them up as much as you can. If you only want like this many, all you would do is just put black tape, make sure no light escapes through here, and then just screw it on here. Make sure that these threads are as close as possible to the light. The more light source it has, the brighter the fibers are going to be. So see how all these are just one. I have to do 10. I mean, this is gonna be a huge mess of fibers. It's gonna look crazy. Very time consuming, but with a lot of patience, it will pay off. Another thing that I found helpful was to number your amount of stars that you have. That way you don't get lost, and you're not having to recount over and over again your fibers. I have 14 in total, which is a lot. But this is just a shooting star one. There's 14 shooting stars in 14 fibers. No. Yeah, 14 shooting stars, 14 fibers in each star, and there's 10. That didn't make sense. 14 shooting stars, 10 fibers. Yes. 14 stars, 10 fibers on each one. Alrighty, I don't even know how long I've been working on this. It is a very, very time consuming operation. Obviously, you know, there's 10 strands in each one, and I have 14 individual, so you can do the math there. Right now, it's completed. I have all of them here. I put some glue on there just because when you put them all together, the center ones can shift and things like that. So a little bit of Elmer's glue or whatever glue that is, you know, we'll keep them together. Another thing is you want to organize everything. I'm organizing them. Make sure you don't pull them too hard. I'm just kind of like putting them like that, flat like that. Wrap them around every so many inches or so. Put another one there, put another one there, and so on, so that it's not so crazy, because you just cannot capture that in this video, how crazy it looks right now. Do not get unmotivated. This is to push you to do it. You can do it. It's just a very time consuming, and also I didn't think it was going to happen, but you are going to get tangled. You have to be patient, because if you pull it, you can bend the fiber. Once the fiber is bent, it's no good. You have to cut that area out. So you have to be very careful when untangling these things. You have to be very, very patient. This job is for a very patient person. Someone who doesn't get angry. Your back is going to be hurting a lot unless this was raised a lot higher, and you're not going to be bending down so much. But this job is not for everybody. Just hopefully trying to explain this as best as I can, because there aren't that many videos explaining the time and the effort that it takes to do something like this, and as to why you will not see a lot of people doing this. Okay, right now I'm gonna be doing the regular engine kit. This one, which only turns, you know, red, yellow, green, blue. They don't simultaneously do anything as far as this one, since each source has its own light. This only has one light, but it has multiple colors. So I chose a different color, just went around and did a bunch of little dots, made sure it wasn't too crowded in one area, because these can be pretty bright, and driving while they are on can be distracting, or, you know, just looks really weird. So I went ahead and marked them in orange, and I'm going around starting here, make sure I drill them. I'm going to be drilling all these holes, put them around here, just kind of like freckles or chicken pox or whatever may be the case. Oh god, this camera. Also, you'll see that all my Meteor stuff. There is a better way to do this. As far as how I did it, this may be the wrong way, but this is the only way that I could get all of this to be shoved in there. I'll show you an idea of what I have in order to put that cover on here without any air leaking. I'm gonna put this one outside just because I know for a fact there's not gonna be enough room for that to fit in the hood, and there's plenty of space in here in this area for this to fit. So I'm gonna put a liner on top of this, so when I'm shoving this in there, none of this gets caught in any of the grooves in my ceiling. So there you have it. Pretty soon I'll have crazy wires going everywhere to this selection here on this one. Okay, so I've covered the light kit, one of the light kits in here, the Meteor one in here. I've got this one in here, I'm working on it. I've pretty much covered most of the fibers. I still have to do the back. I'm running out of fiber, but yeah, once all this is done, this is all you're going to be able to see. That way it's smooth it goes in smoothly. You know, this doesn't stick very well, but with the heat and stuff, it's kind of cold right now, so it's not sticking very well. You can get it done pretty good. And then once all that's done, I'm gonna line them all up there, and then that's it. You're done. You just have to shove this thing back in there again somehow. Once you're done, just go ahead and get the nail clippers and cut it to that point right there. So, and that's it. Alright, here's the final product. You're gonna not want to put a lot of LEDs. This is actually a good combination, or a good amount. This is gonna be the final product. And it's all worth it, to be honest with you. My windows are a little dark, so you can't really see in there. I mean, you can, but you have different modes too. You can flash if it wants it to. This remote does whatever it wants. Anyways, those are the settings, and if you have any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram, Letty's, or Letty on 26s, and good luck with your project.